Time now for a first look at the forecast. Here's meteorologist Ross Hull.
Hi, Kevin. Well, pleasant start to the weekend. Sunshine, high pressure in place. We are keeping an eye on this next system that will start to bring some showers to southern eastern Ontario as early as tomorrow morning. So we're tracking that. And it's setting up a pretty unsettled pattern, really, Sunday into Monday. That's why there's a special weather statement for these areas, the Nickel Belt through to Manitoulin Island, the Bruce Peninsula, parts of Midwestern Ontario, east of Georgian Bay here. Environment Canada is saying, well, because the ground is still frozen in some spots, we're still thawing, 20 to 40 millimeters of rain on top of that. Certainly some ponding on roadways a concern, and perhaps some localized flooding with the rounds of heavy rain on the way. So we're keeping an eye on that. We've been under the influence of a northerly wind for the most part around the GTA. We'll get into an easterly wind as this next system moves in. Temperatures have reached the high single digits, low double digits for some spots today. So that's near average, but temperatures tonight will drop back down to near the freezing mark or even below for some spots, down to -1 in Peterborough, right around the freezing mark in Kingston. Near the freezing mark, up to 2 degrees for parts of the GTA. So tomorrow it will be a cool rain on the way. I'll talk about that, plus some warmer rain, if you will. We've got warm conditions, but unsettled into the work week. Your full forecast details are just ahead.
Thanks, Ross. All right, forecast time with our meteorologist, Ross Hull. And now's the time of year people want to plan stuff outside.
Yes.
But you never know.
Exactly. And it's tough because there are those signs of spring, and then, that wintry shadow returns. And that's really what we're going to get over the next few days. Ups and downs when it comes to temperatures and conditions. But it's my job to break it down. When it comes to sky conditions or as that shower activity tracks in, an east wind. If you've spent any time near Lake Ontario, you know that can be a cool wind, 20 to 40 kilometers per hour at times tomorrow. And again, we're in the single digits, so that will be a cool rain. Temperatures do rise to the double digits by tomorrow night, setting up some warmer conditions, but still unsettled at times into Monday. So as we look at temperatures across the continent, and this is often the case in April, got the battleground of some cooler air. You can see temperatures in the single digits around Thunder Bay, Montreal, and then temperatures through parts of the U.S. plains, through to Kansas City in the 20s. And that's the brand of air that will start to move in. But we're also going to be on part of the storm track as some systems travel into the area as well. But it will take some time for things to warm up. For that warm air to move through. Southwestern Ontario, we'll get into it earlier tomorrow. Satellite radar, pretty quiet today, a pleasant day, and you'll see the cloud cover on the increase. And here's a look at your timestamp. So by tomorrow morning, 8, 9 a.m., the showers push across portions of Midwestern Ontario. Some wet snow possible towards the north, towards 9, 10 a.m., later morning into the afternoon. Some showers travel towards the GTA. We're seeing some wet weather through to parts of eastern Ontario, Peterborough and Kingston, some wet snow initially around Ottawa, and then we see a bit of a break. You can see here, this is Sunday evening, and then another round of showers travels in. But right now, it looks like the heavier rain, a band of heavier rain with the track of these systems, is going to be north of Toronto. Again, that area under the special weather statement. They could be under some rainfall warnings at this time tomorrow because of the transport of that moisture farther north. I'm going to show you some rainfall amounts possible in a moment. This is just some model data, but let's take it through the forecast again. You can see on Tuesday morning, yet another round of rain moves in, a bit of a break, and then there will likely be more showers as the week progresses. So this is just model data. It's not to say Owen Sound is going to see 100 millimeters of rain, but this is why we're concerned about the possibility of some localized flooding as you head north if this plays out. Now, as we look at temperatures tonight, low single digits, even below the freezing mark for some areas. For tomorrow, it's a cool rain. Single digits in Toronto for much of the day, but look at London and Windsor into the teens and 20s. But that cooler air is certainly hanging out over the GTA and areas farther east. But look at this forecast. 7 Sunday, 19 on Monday with more wet weather at times. Risk of showers, thunderstorms on Tuesday. The unsettled weather conditions at times Wednesday, Thursday. But the one pattern certainly is temperatures are staying around the high teens. showers. And that's a look at your forecast.
Running a weekend pothole blitz to smooth out local roads. Officials say warmer spring weather has allowed crews to extend repair hours, adding they've already filled more than 89,000 potholes since January 1st. They're urging drivers to respect work zones and give road crews plenty of space to operate safely. Residents can report new potholes directly to 311 or through the city's website. Now, we saw some beautiful conditions across the GTA today, but things are taking a turn tomorrow with quite a stretch of wet weather in the forecast. For more on what to expect, let's check in now with meteorologist Ross Hall. Ross, how long is this rain going to last?
Hi, Kevin. Yes, it was a beautiful start to the weekend. Beautiful Saturday out there in Toronto and London and Peterborough, Kingston, even northern sections of Ontario. Plenty of sunshine, but you can see upstream to our west there is some shower activity, and that is what is going to be moving in for tomorrow. And that means the potential as well for some heavy rain at times Sunday into Monday. It looks like the track of that heaviest rain will be through the Nickel Belt, Manitoulin Island, the Bruce Peninsula areas east of Georgian Bay. That's why there's a special weather statement in place. Environment Canada warning of the potential for 20 to 40 millimeters of rain. For some areas, the ground is just thawing, so it's still frozen even in some spots. So that's a concern. Now, I think basically some models are showing heavier amounts than 20 to 40 millimeters. And I'm going to show you our high resolution model coming up in our longer forecast or longer range forecast. But it's just a heads up that there could be some heavy rain in that area. Winds have been out of the north for the most part around the GTA. We'll get into an easterly wind tomorrow. Temperatures today near average, reaching 10 degrees in Toronto, 11 in Hamilton, so some double digits. Other areas into the single digits. And for tonight, we'll drop down to near freezing, just above in London and Toronto, -1 in Peterborough, around freezing in Kingston. And we'll see increasing cloud cover. But we've got the rain on the way. I'll show you when that arrives and what to expect into the work week. Your full forecast coming up.
Thanks, Ross. Okay, Sky Tracker forecast with our meteorologist Ross Hall. And Ross, you know, it's hedge season in Canada, and that means that you can get any weather, all the weather.
You don't just flip a switch and you're automatically into spring. You gotta, work for it a little bit.
If it was only so simple.
I know.
Yeah.
And my job would be easier, but yes, still some ups and downs when it comes to temperatures and conditions over the next little bit. Let's start with a look at what you can expect for Sunday. So a much different day in store for the GTA after getting to the double digits today with plenty of sunshine, cloud cover, and easterly wind. That's a cool wind, keeping temperatures in the single digits. It's going to take some time for the warmer air to track in, and that will arrive likely later tomorrow night and into Monday. And yes, some showers starting around noon tomorrow for the GTA, earlier for southwestern Ontario and areas towards the north and west of the GTA. But some of these showers could be heavy at times too, and I'll show you how all of that unfolds in a moment. As we look west, you can see the contours on this map. The oranges there, that's warmer air, and some of that warmth pushing into southern Saskatchewan. That is the brand of air that's going to be pushing in towards the Great Lakes. So we've got this upper level ridge forming to the north, allowing some of that warmth to build in. We're also going to be close to part of the jet stream that's to the south, a branch of it. They're basically coming together here, two of the branches, and that means a good amount of moisture is going to be transported along the jet stream, and that will result in some heavy bands of rain at times, even some convection, some thunderstorms too. Today was a calm day across, well, northern Ontario, southern Ontario, eastern Ontario. It's just a beautiful day out there. But again, you're going to see the cloud cover on the increase, perhaps even a bit wet snow over parts of eastern Ontario, some of the higher terrain here around Haliburton, for instance, and no significant accumulations though. And in areas around midwestern Ontario, the Huron shores here, some showers. Starts to move in by the noon hour for the GTA. Could be some heavier bands of rain embedded in this, so some ponding on roadways. We see a bit of a break late afternoon towards the early evening for the GTA, but heavier rain still to the north and east. And then another round arrives on Monday morning, a bit of a break Monday afternoon, and then another round on Tuesday morning of some showers and the risk of thunderstorms. So pretty unsettled pattern. It's not going to be raining every minute of every hour. However, you got to be prepared for some wet weather, certainly. And here's a look at some of those amounts. It'll depend on where thunderstorms track and where the heaviest rain does track. But you can see into Tuesday the potential for some areas to see 50+ millimeters. So rainfall warnings may need to be issued because of this. Tonight, clear skies, or at least some building cloud cover, or partly cloudy. We're down to near the freezing mark to just below. Tomorrow, cool conditions around Toronto, Peterborough, Ottawa, Kingston. 17 in London, 24 in Windsor. There into the warmth, but not just yet for areas farther east. The next 7 days look like this. The warmth does arrive on Monday, but again, wet weather at times, Monday, Tuesday, even Wednesday. But we're staying in the high teens throughout much of the week. Bit of a break from the showers, it looks like, at least on Friday. And that's a look at your forecast.